Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Reviews from the Clubhouse, as always brought to you by Clubhouse Films, hosted by myself, Chance McDuffie, and
Logan Solana.
And it was so delicious, I licked the plate.
Oh, hey.
Oh, excuse us.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry
Didn't even
about that.
notice you guys.
Hello, guys.
So
Welcome
embarrassing.
back. I hope you liked that little intro that we just did.
Yeah.
All of it.
All
if
right.
not, too bad. You've already listened to it.
Oh, we're such losers.
All right, guys. This is going to be a fun episode.
All right, so we've got 2 parts coming at you because of
Hot
the release
off the
of
press.
Captain Marvel coming out on the 8th, right? The 8th. So we're going to do all of the Marvel movies. Now, I'm gonna start off by saying that Chance will probably be doing a lot of the talking because he knows more about what he's talking about than I do.
I've seen these movies so much, I could probably quote all of them word for word.
Are you serious?
I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
I love these movies, man.
I mean,
Anyway,
they're great, yeah, for sure.
we do have some news and some other topics
Yeah, we
to
got
get to
some
before we
fun
roll
stuff.
into it. It's probably going to be a little bit of a longer episode.
So sit back, relax,
Oh, yeah.
and enjoy.
So, the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this last week.
We did. Yeah, we mentioned that, how we were a little upset that they're going to cut out a couple of the most
Two of the most
prominent,
pivotal
categories.
components
Yeah.
at making a movie, period, of making anything that's on film. But, of course, the brilliant masterminds that run the Oscars, the
And brilliant
Academy,
they are.
they have changed their minds on doing cinematography and editing and makeup and mesh live short during the commercial break. So everyone's going to be it's going to be back to the way it was. So it seems like they switched back to this gravy train they've been riding of saying dumb things and then
And
changing
rebuttal.
their minds when the public reacts to it negatively. So
Right.
hey, we'll see what else comes. I mean, I think the Oscars is this weekend, I think it's Sunday, the 24th.
Is
I
that
think.
right?
I think. I mean, I don't know. I might be
probably
wong.
right.
I think that's right. But
I
well,
gotta be
speaking of the
honest.
Oscars,
Yeah.
got a hot scoop here. And by hot
Ooh.
scoop, I mean I heard
Some
this somewhere else,
scoopies.
and I was like, ooh, I'm going to talk about it.
What's that?
Apparently,
Yeah.
there's going to be a new Avengers Endgame trailer that's going to drop during the
Are you
Oscars.
serious?
But apparently this one's supposed to be like
The last one.
the boom trailer. That's a direct quote from where I heard that from. The boom trailer.
Wow.
It's the one that's going to make our jaws drop and make us shit our pants.
So you think it's going to be longer than 30 seconds this time?
I think
or-
so.
I
but
kind of hope not.
I'm a little nervous because I don't. One thing I love about this movie is we have no idea what is going on.
Right,
Like
there's
we
so-
don't.
you're right.
No matter what leaked news you may or may not have read, whatever leaked photos you may or may not have seen, you don't know.
Right.
None of us do.
Which keep
Other
in mind.
than the Russos and Kevin Feige.
Right. And keep in mind, Marvel is like synonymous with misleading their.
Yeah, like we have,
their
and it's so
audience.
exciting to have no idea what.
Right.
So we'll see if this trailer drops.
Yeah.
If so, you heard it here first.
Yeah, nowhere else. We're exclusively.
Boom.
Yeah, we're talking with our friend and cinematographer Tony Mills, and we were saying, I really hope that there are no more Endgame trailers, but at the same time, of course, I hope there is. But we'll see. Excited.
Yeah. So
What else we got?
So, do you know who Armie Hammer is?
Maybe.
Have you seen A Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
I have
Or
not.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? Have you seen that really shitty Lone Ranger movie with Johnny Depp?
I have seen that.
He played the
yes.
Lone Ranger.
Oh, I do know
He's
that.
actually a
Is that
really
it?
good actor.
Hey, I like the Lone Ranger.
He was supposed to play Batman back in the day.
Was he really?
I think it was a
Not in Christopher
Frank
Nolan's
Miller.
Batman.
No.
right?
I think it was a Frank Miller adaptation or something like that didn't fall through. He was actually casted as Batman already. And as we
Okay.
all know, Ben Affleck has dropped out
Yep.
of the DC films as Batman. He will no longer be Batman.
Yeah.
So Matt Reeves
Ooh.
has a Batman movie coming up titled The Batman.
Oh, I have heard of that.
Matt
yeah.
Reeves did the Planet of the Apes trilogy, which I am very fond of.
They
with
are
Andy
great
Serkis.
movies. Yeah.
Mhm.
The
So
newer
he's
ones,
making a
we
new
should
Batman
say.
movie, and there was a rumor, word on the street was Armie Hammer was going to suit up as Batman once again he was casted again, but this time he would actually be able to do it.
Right. Also,
He denied all that. He said it was all a lie. He was like, no one who can actually offer me the job has said anything to me. That being said, I think Armie Hammer would be a great Batman. I like Armie Hammer.
He was pretty skinny in The Lone Ranger, so he'd have to beef up a bit.
Yeah, he would, but he's like 6'6", so like
is he serious?
He's huge. Yeah, he's a big man. So like that's
a big guy.
That'd be a great Batman. I can just see, like, just imagine, just like think of the Dark Knight when Batman's like gliding around. And he's got his cape, and like, can you imagine just this giant?
That'd be cool.
Batman, like the premise of Batman, he's terrifying to criminals. Like he that's his thing. He uses fear.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you just like, you're already doing something you shouldn't be doing, right? So you're already kind of like jaded.
You're already breaking the law.
We can't get caught. And then you see this fucking towering man that's like 6'6", dressed as a bat. You would shit yourself. I mean, you know who it is because you're in Gotham. You know that's the Batman.
Do you think they just give up? I mean, they don't though. They always
fight or
back.
flight. Yeah, and they always choose
back.
fight, and they get
And they
their
always
asses
lose.
kicked. Like, you're dealing with he's mastered like 11 forms of martial arts. I don't even know if there are 11 forms of martial arts.
I have no clue because
either way, you're gonna
about
lose.
it.
He's gonna beat the shit out of you.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
I would like to see Armie Hammer as Batman.
It's curious.
Yeah. So
You do a good job. I still think Will Arnett should be Batman.
don't get me started on this.
Hey, he'd
I
do
like
a
him as
great
Lego
job.
Batman, but that's it.
I genuinely think he would do a great job and surprise
know.
everyone.
I mean, I'm sure. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever.
He's talented,
He's very talented.
but Batman is a whole nother monster.
Yeah, that is. It's a beast to tackle on its own.
The hardest part about Batman is that with Batman you have Bruce Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to understand, like, the character. You have to understand that Batman is his true self,
Right.
to where Bruce Wayne is the mask, and I think that's what Ben Affleck did well as Batman. Like, even when you see him as Bruce, he is still Batman. Unless he's got to be face to face with like regular, unless he has to just mingle with society, then he's Bruce Wayne, eccentric billionaire.
Now I'll let you be the judge on that because I have not seen any of the Ben Affleck Batman movies.
I think, Justice League was a train wreck, but in Batman vs Superman, I honestly do believe he's a decent Batman.
Although I do know a little fun fact about that movie.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever seen? Oh, I don't know if you have. You ever seen I Am Legend?
Yes.
So when he's walking through New York,
that Batman Superman poster, people lost their minds over that.
That's pretty cool. And
then they fucked the movie up.
Yeah.
That movie came out in 2006?
Oh, a long time ago.
And it got people like, yeah!
A long time ago.
And then because the studio put that in there to be like, let's see if anyone says anything. And everybody lost their minds. And then they're like, yeah, people have an interest in this movie. And then they fucked it up.
Because if you're not familiar with I Am Legend, it takes place in post-apocalyptic future. Like, I mean, what year did that come out? 2017?
I Am Legend?
No. Batman vs Superman. 2017?
2016.
2016? Yeah. It takes place then, or a little bit after that, because the world had gone to shit. So, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Anyway.
What else we got?
Were you a Halo fan?
Yes, the series.
Yeah, the series.
Oh, yes. What have we heard about that? Anything?
So you know the new Robin Hood movie that just recently came out?
No.
With Jamie Foxx and
The
Tanner
Robin Hood
Egerton,
movie?
I think that's his name. Yeah, the guy from Kingsman.
I'm still thinking
Heard it
Batman.
was dog shit.
Yeah.
Heard
I mean,
it was
it has
horrible.
a terrible rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
It was horrible. I've heard
knew it was
nothing
gonna be
but
really
bad things
bad.
about it.
Yeah.
So the guy that directed that, he's gonna be attached to this Halo series.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So
I've gone on record saying that, a couple years ago, some really cool stuff was being announced, like video game adaptations, and I'm not the biggest gamer on the planet. I do think video games are pretty underrated because they have great stories, and I've always thought like, when I become a very famous director, I'll usher in a new age of really good video game adaptations. And you hear about now, people are like beating me to the punch. Like, you've got the Halo series in the work, and The Witcher with Henry Cavill or Cavill.
I've seen a little bit of stuff for that you've shown me,
Yeah,
but I'm
I
not
should've.
familiar with it. But I'm actually interested because the concept is cool. Like,
Concept's very cool.
it's all fantasy, and I like that kind of stuff.
It's very much Game of Thrones esque.
yeah.
And like I was
Tomb Raider.
But they've
I haven't
rebooted
seen the
Tomb
new
Raider.
one. I heard the new one's not bad. It's got Walton Goggins in it, and I love him.
It does have Walton Goggins. Yeah,
He's great and everything.
Yeah, he is really good. So I'm very interested. But every time a new video game movie, Assassin's Creed comes out, it just tanks. And I think it's I mean, there's many contributing factors to it, but a lot of the times the execution is just very poor. And the people who are directing it don't know the source material very well, and they try to, the whole illusion with a video game is that, or not illusion, but the allure of a video game is that there's all these multiple stories happening at once. It's very much like a book, and it's just never executed right. So, yeah, we shall see.
I've only played Halo once.
Yeah, same. I remember, back in like the early 2000s, everyone
because
used
like
to just
I was always a PlayStation kid.
Traitor.
And like I had one Xbox 360 and I like got the red ring or whatever.
The red ring of death.
Within like 2 weeks of me having it, and I was like, you know what? Fool me once. Done with Microsoft. I was done with that. I was like, going back to PlayStation.
Yeah.
So I got a PS3 and then I have a PS4 now.
Yeah.
But I never really got into Halo. But the concept is interesting because I love sci-fi and action and all that kind of stuff as much as the next person, maybe more.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it interests me. Like as long as the narrative is interesting, because I don't really know much about the game. So if it doesn't follow the game closely, I'm not really going to care too much about that. As long as what I'm watching is good,
Right. And I think a format like a television show is probably what a video game needs because, again, there's so much going on in video games that it's hard to just focus on one storyline. So, yeah, multiple episode TV show will probably fit it best. That's why I was excited when they turned The Witcher into a TV show, and it's not a movie because I know you don't know this, but there was a Witcher movie that came out like 10-ish years ago, and I'm hesitant to call it a movie. It is very bad, but it's. I mean, they were probably working with a small budget, and I think it was shot like over in Norway or some European country or something like that. But yeah, look it up. It's good time. Yeah. Good time. So what else we got? What's
next on the list? I watched the Highwaymen trailer that you sent me. So it's really I had no idea what it was about.
Right.
And it's Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner play two
true detectives.
They play what are they?
They're Texas Rangers.
Yeah. So they play two Texas Rangers, and they are chasing Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde just escaped, and they're leaving a trail of bodies, and these two men are hunting them down. It's a Netflix film.
Mm-hmm. Which
that being said, I don't know, because a lot of trash ends up on Netflix because they buy everything.
Yeah, they
do
buy a lot.
The trailer actually looked really good. It was very interesting to me. I love the whole true detective cop genre.
Yeah,
and it's told from their point of view, chasing Bonnie and Clyde, and I really like that kind of stuff. The trailer was really good. Those two, especially Woody Harrelson. I mean, he's been working so much lately, and he's knocking it out of the park. Have you seen 3 Billboards? It's got him, Sam Rockwell, Frances McDermott.
No.
Peter Dinklage.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a great film. He's not in it very much.
3 Billboards. I'll have to check that out.
Well, that's not the whole title, but...
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Sure, if I type that in, it'll pop up.
I don't know Kevin Costner too well. I've only known him from a few things. I know him best from, most recently from Man of Steel. Because he played Clark's... He played
the father, didn't he?
What's his name?
Clark Kent.
No,
but his dad's name? Couldn't tell you.
Jonathan Kent.
Jonathan.
Plays Jonathan Kent. I was about to call him Pa Kent. That's what they call him. Ma and Pa Kent.
I think Kevin Costner is a very underrated actor. A lot of people give him a lot of flack, and they just, people do this a lot with actors, but they base it off of one role, and they don't give him another chance ever. And yeah, Kevin Costner's a great actor. He's had he's had a very successful career. He's also insanely smart, and it Dances with Wolves. Great film.
The first film I ever saw him in was The Guardian, and it was about United States Coast Guard. And it's got Ashton Kutcher in it, and Costner was training. I haven't seen that movie in so long, but that was
been a long time.
Whenever it was on, I watched it as a kid. It was a really good movie to me. I had a cousin that was in the Coast Guard, and it made me I knew that it was a movie, you know,
Mhm.
but it made me feel like I had a glimpse into his world almost. And I was like, man, the Coast Guards are no joke.
Yeah, no, they're cool.
But yeah, man, like that looks really interesting to
does.
me. You sent me the trailer. It took me a while to watch it. I watched it this morning before you came over, and I was like, wow. Like,
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
And it feels really gritty. It's got that, because sometimes with Netflix you kind of lose that
Movie quality.
studio quality. Yeah, you can kind of tell that there's a smaller budget.
Right.
But I didn't really feel that with this, especially like the shots of them driving through like the desert.
Yeah, it's
it
very
looks
cool.
so gritty, and I felt like it really fits the era of this film. Like when it takes place, it makes me feel like I'm there with them. And
Chance and I are big fans of a gritty kind of storytelling. You know, No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
Pretty much any Quentin Tarantino film, they're all great.
I feel like even Nolan has like a grittiness to
does,
his films.
he very much does.
He has that. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just, with some directors, you can feel their finesse, if you will.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it's like that.
It's a stylized preference.
Yeah, and
for
like Denis Villeneuve, I love him. Like Arrival, Sicario, Blade Runner 2049.
Very
Each of those
talented.
movies has that grittiness, that finesse that I was saying, but
Arrival,
great
film.
With him, each flare and layer of finesse that he puts on his film matches the tone completely. It's like he knows how to morph it. You know what Dune is?
Yes. Yeah.
So
old movie back in the, I believe, 80s.
they're remaking
they're
that,
remaking it,
and he's directing it.
Yeah.
And the cast is
amazing.
amazing. Yeah, I'm like,
Insane.
I don't know much about Dune. From what I understand, it's like one of the greatest sci-fi novels ever written.
Yeah,
I really want
supposedly.
to read it just because that intrigues me.
Right.
And the movie comes out next year. I don't know what the release date is. And
Me
blah, blah,
neither.
blah.
I don't think it's announced yet.
But yeah, I was like, I'd like to read that. And
Yeah. It'd be
but
good.
yeah, grittiness in films. The Highwaymen trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, check it out.
Check
it
it
actually
out.
looks really good.
For sure it does.
So hopefully that'll be one of the good ones that Netflix does.
Right.
But yeah, what other news I have? So Chris Hemsworth has just been casted in the Hulk Hogan biopic. He's
Oh,
gonna
I
play
did
Hulk
see
Hogan.
that. Oh, gosh. So it's so funny because he is Australian or
Yes,
New Zealand.
He's Australian.
And Hulk Hogan is just this. Yeah, he's just.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I remember he said some racist things not too long
Hulk
ago.
Hogan?
I don't remember
Or
what
Chris
he
Hemsworth.
said.
Which one?
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the quotes. I just remember everyone tripping about him. He said something racist. So
What the fuck is wrong
I don't
with
really
people?
know much about Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
I was never
not too
really.
much.
I mean, it was into wrestling as much as any other kid.
And,
It was
like
more so
wrestling?
like The Rock's persona. And then when he started making movies, I stopped watching WWE.
You know, call me crazy. I'm not the biggest Dwayne Johnson fan.
Man, what?
I don't think he can act.
When I first got introduced to him, I saw, like I remember as a kid, The Rundown. With him and what's that dude's name? Sean Austin Scott, is that his name? And Rosario Dawson.
Couldn't tell you.
Fucking Christopher Walken's the bad guy in that movie. That's such a good movie to me. And that and Walking Tall. Walking Tall is a very underrated movie to me with The Rock. But I've always been a fan of The Rock, man. I just like him.
I mean, I give him props for being able to make the transition from like quote unquote pro wrestler to
He's actually like a respected actor now. Like people take him seriously. Like
right,
you know,
and that's
all
awesome.
of his movies may not be like the best, but
Right. Rampage.
he's the best at what
Skyscraper.
he gets butts in seats, which is ultimately what a studio wants.
He
Like
sure does.
he sells tickets. I mean, and in the end of the day,
That's what counts to the
like
producers.
to the studio
Yeah.
and to the producers. That's all they really care about.
And man, can those pecs dance.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got?
Let's see here.
You know, new tagline. Man, can those pecs dance.
We got so. Did you watch any of the Netflix Marvel shows?
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. And yes, I sure did.
So
I was a huge fan of all of them. Even Iron Fist, and that's a very unpopular opinion.
I loved Daredevil season 1. I thought season 2 was still pretty
I
good.
haven't watched season 3 yet.
Okay,
Good?
keep that in mind.
Okay, nay.
Potential spoilers for all of this if you guys care or haven't seen it. Season 1 I really liked. Season 2 I really liked. I know a lot of people are like kind of divisive on season 2 just because like all the ninja stuff and the like the prep for Iron Fist and the Defenders and all that.
And there's a prep.
I liked it because it's comic booky. And I like just Daredevil, the concept of Daredevil. He's so sweet. Like I just like he is
cool.
Dope. And
he's probably one of my favorite superheroes.
Did you know that the Ninja Turtles is a parody from? It's a spin-off of Daredevil.
Of Daredevil?
Really? The chemicals that spilled in his eyes are the same chemicals that spilled into the sewer and made them
that's
mutants.
Funny. No, I didn't know that.
And that's why, like he gets trained by like Daredevil is trained by Stick.
Yeah.
And the ninja, like the Turtles, are trained by Splinter. And the villain, like the group in Daredevil, is the hand, and then the Turtles, it's the foot. Yeah, like foot. it's all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's how all that was bred.
Because the Stick and Master Splinter.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I never watched Ninja Turtles. I couldn't get
hopefully
into
that doesn't ruin Ninja Turtles for anybody.
I hope
just
it
knowing
does.
that it's based off of, like someone read Daredevil was like, ooh, let me
make this for like, teenagers.
What was crazy is the original comics of Ninja Turtles were not for like it was graphic.
Right, it was very
was
graphic.
Not for kids. Yeah, it was
I do know that.
Did you ever see that old Ninja Turtles movie with the dudes in suits? I don't
Probably
remember when it came. It came in like
photos.
the 90s or the 80s
Yeah,
or something like that.
I know which one you're talking about.
That was very accurate to like they were swearing and stuff and that. I remember as a kid
Really?
watching it, I was like, what the fuck is this? But apparently it's very accurate too. That movie though, man, they had like those suits, those turtle suits that they had. People were like passing out and almost dying. And
really?
shit. Yeah.
That doesn't actually surprise me. They probably didn't breathe very well. Yeah.
Back then,
they don't
like,
care.
Put this on, we'll pay you.
We'll pay you.
Any actor's like, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. But
yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
For sure.
But where I was going with that, I do not like Iron Fist season 1 was shit.
Oh, I can't believe you
so
say
bad.
that. Why?
What?
I love it.
That was so fucking boring. Do you know, like Finn Jones, the guy that plays Iron Fist, he had no martial arts training for this. They would literally, like, a day or two or even hours before they shot, taught him what to do and then filmed it. And it looks like that. He does not look like a martial, like when you compare like Daredevil, when it looks like Charlie Cox trained with someone to be Daredevil.
See, I'd have to go back and
Finn
watch
Jones, it was so slow, and I was like, this dude does not feel like the Iron Fist, like the whole concept that they're trying to sell, like the Iron Fist is this ultimate warrior from Kunlun, and his destiny is to destroy the hand. I'm like, bro, you look like I could beat you up. Like me, and I'm fucking 5'6". Like I feel like I could take Finn Jones in that. Like it just didn't look well put. And then like as I was watching it, it was off-putting, and then I found that out, and I was like, it makes total sense.
I didn't look for that.
Didn't even watch season 2 of Iron Fist because I didn't like season 1, and I was like I was very sold on the Defenders.
So I like the Defenders.
And I knew I had to get through season 1 of that.
I enjoyed the story of Danny Rand. I thought that
his story
is really cool.
Yeah, but I feel like it just wasn't executed very well. Like I didn't care about him as much as I cared about Daredevil. And then Luke Cage season 1 I thought was great until spoilers. Did you see Luke Cage season 1?
Yes. Yeah, I am pretty sure.
I was completely on board with it until they killed Cottonmouth in the middle of the season. Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali.
He was great. And then they killed him, and then and then
I do remember that now.
I was just like, what the like, and like I had noticed that all of the Netflix Marvel shows were following that same formula.
Mm-hmm.
Started out great. In the middle of the season, they killed the bad guy, and then psych, there's a bigger bad guy. Yeah. There's always a bigger fish.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Star Wars.
Anyway.
God, we're such losers.
Anyway.
Why are our girlfriends with us? Oh, my God.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably they see the beauty that lies behind the nerdiness. At least I hope. Or maybe they're just crazy.
Yeah, that's probably more like it.
But, like, I don't know, man. So I didn't even watch season 2 of Luke Cage. I didn't finish season 1 of Jessica Jones. I didn't care for it. I knew
Jessica Jones is really good.
I knew everyone loved it. I just couldn't get on board with it for some reason. I didn't finish season 1 of The Punisher. I haven't watched season 2.
Punisher's really good.
Ultimately, where I'm going with this is slowly they've been canceling all of these Netflix shows.
Well, you know why.
Yeah, because Disney is starting their own streaming service.
Disney Plus.
I can't remember what the president of Netflix, what his name is, the CEO. But basically, Bob Iger he's the CEO of Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and Disney owns the distributing rights to Netflix. So, long story short, CEO of Netflix doesn't like the fact that Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, is starting his own streaming service. That's a competitor, so he's they're not really getting along. And Kevin Feige, CEO of Marvel Studios, he and the Netflix CEO do not get along, I guess. Apparently they're not good friends.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they don't like each other, but that's word on the street.
I don't know who's telling you that.
Articles that I've read and
okay.
just scoops from just small
Let's try to get them to meet up. Guys, if you're listening to this, just
Kevin Feige and whatever your name is that is the CEO of Netflix.
We're addressing you personally, whatever your name is.
Yes. Come on, guys.
Just kiss and make up.
Yeah.
Go grab some coffee.
Daredevil Season 3, I thought was really good. It was really good.
So I know the premise. I've yet to watch it.
So good. And it bums me out that I'm not going to see more of that.
I freaked out.
But
when
Marvel
the
has
dropped.
said that these characters could come back. But it won't. Legally, it can't be these same actors because their contracts are with Netflix, and Disney's not trying. Like they don't want to.
Are you telling me you don't think that they would ever work that shit out if they were like?
I honestly don't know.
Charlie Cox,
because
fantastic actor,
but
he's Daredevil.
Netflix would have to have. They would have to be compensated for that, though.
Which Disney. Let's just put this in perspective. Disney bought Star Wars for, what was it, $2 billion?
But I mean,
money's no object.
Realistically, Marvel has the complete right. Like Kevin Feige and the MCU, they have the complete right to use those characters, but they can't be those exact characters from the Netflix show.
Right.
So I don't know. Like it bums me out that Daredevil's canceled. I don't give a shit about Jessica Jones or Luke Cage or Iron Fist. I just liked Daredevil.
You know what always confuses me? Now, I do know this because shout out to my nephew here. He is 4 years old. He has a rug in his room that has all of the prominent Avengers displayed on it. And Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Daredevil are all original members of the Avengers. Really pisses me off though that they're not in any of the Avengers movies. These
and it's
guys,
supposed to be set in the same universe, but it's never really acknowledged. There's
they reference
faint references and hints, and there's small stuff like that, but it's never it's not clear that it's the same universe.
I remember the Russo brothers gave an interview why aren't they in Civil War, or why aren't they going to be in Infinity War? And they're like, well, I believe Kevin Feige said, I'm perfectly fine with them being in it. However, the Russo brothers are already saying, we're already telling so many stories, we just don't have enough time to, throw them in out of the blue.
This late in the game.
Late in the game. Which, would kind of make sense to me that they would later in the game, because, Robert Downey Jr.'s contract is done. Chris Hemsworth's contract is done. Chris Evans is done.
Plus,
3 of the biggest stars.
Disney Plus, Netflix. There's all kinds of swearing and killing and
it's a hard R.
Yeah, they're not gonna put that in. They're not gonna integrate those same characters into. This is no way.
But all Cap has to say is no swearing.
That being said, Bob Iger did say that Marvel can continue rated R content like Deadpool and all that, but it would be under a different banner than the Marvel and Disney banner. So I'm curious to what I remember. Marvel was doing Marvel Knights when that was coming out, and it was the Punisher movies and the grittier Marvel, Ghost Rider, the grittier, darker Marvel stuff. Before there was a Marvel Studios, it was Marvel Knights. Yeah, don't get me started on that.
That one I'll agree with you with.
Oh my god, they're both fucking garbage. I can't believe that.
There's 2 of them?
Yeah, Idris Elba's in the second one.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's poop. It's so bad, so bad. Oh my god. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it sucks, but then it doesn't. I know that Jessica Jones has a following, and Iron Fist has a following, Luke Cage. There are people that like those. I personally don't, and this is our show, so I don't care.
Right.
Just Daredevil. Don't take Daredevil away from me.
Yeah. I do like Charlie Cox. I think he's great.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen him in that. But
he's British. You know that?
I did.
Yeah.
He's really good, man.
He is really good.
But yeah.
Our news was a bit longer today, we know.
Yeah,
but
it's
you
gonna be a
know,
longer
it
episode.
kind of leads into our whole Marvel theme.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I left the Marvel stuff, the Marvel news last.
Yeah.
One more or two more things. So Gwyneth
Jesus.
Paltrow.
Yep.
Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts.
She put out an official statement. She is retiring from the MCU.
Yeah, she says she's too old.
Yeah,
to be a
and there
superhero.
are some people that are like, "Oh my God, that means Tony Stark's gonna die in Endgame."
Yeah, yeah.
Like, no, it
not
doesn't.
necessarily.
No,
They can write those characters
Yeah,
off.
like you make it seem like every time Tony Stark is on screen, Pepper's there. False.
Right.
She
Also,
can definitely be in the background, and I think that she's earned her leave because, like, I remember
she's been in a lot.
in a press conference, Robert Downey Jr. They were just talking about like the success of the MCU, and he called Gwyneth Paltrow the first lady of the MCU, and that's
because she really is.
and it really yeah. Like, say what you will about her personally, 'cause
Yeah,
she
everyone
she puts
hates
her
Gwyneth
foot in her
Paltrow.
mouth. She says a lot of dumb shit, but that has nothing to do with her
character.
acting and like her job. Like, her personal stuff is Gwyneth Paltrow versus Pepper Potts are two different things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the character, and I've loved seeing the back and forth between her and Tony, and just seeing where they are. Like, they're about to get married. Like, you think about the first Iron Man, and we'll get into that once we actually start talking about the movies. But the first Iron Man, the first shot of him you see, he's holding a drink in his hand. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's a totally different kind of character. He's out here fucking bitches and making weapons and getting drunk. Like, we'd never seen something like that as a
Right.
superhero. And
Playboy.
yeah, and seeing her go from assistant Pepper Potts to Tony's fiance, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
she's grown just as much as Iron Man.
And I agree, she has earned her leave. She's been in. I mean, let's count them up.
think it's
She's
like
been in Iron 1, 2, 3.
The Avengers, the first Avengers.
First Avengers.
She's
Not
been the
in
second one.
Ultron, but she's in Infinity War, and she's also in Spider-Man: Homecoming. What is that? 5, 6 movies?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
she's earned her. She's earned her leave.
And who's to say that, I'm sure for Spider-Man Homecoming, it took her a day
Yeah,
of
for filming. Yeah, for sure. But
So who's to say
still,
she won't come back?
probably
But
same for
I
Infinity
understand,
War.
because she's got like that weird, well, I guess it's not weird, but her little health food
Yeah.
company.
Yep.
That's $1 million company. She's trying to run that. I understand. Like, it takes a while to film a movie.
Respect, for sure.
So
It does.
I understand her saying, like, I don't have 3 to 6 months of my
Right,
life to give up
right.
to go film.
Right. Yeah, she has been slowly stepping away from the acting spotlight because maybe that's not her passion. I don't know. I do know that some of her interests lie elsewhere, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about her.
Yeah.
I know that her daughter's name is like Apple or something like that. Something like that. I don't know, man. She's I know that much.
Yeah, it's pertinent.
Yeah. That's all you need to know about her. She named her daughter Apple. But yeah. So I think she's earned it. It does make me a little sad to see her go, because she's part of the
She's an Avenger.
where it all started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It started with Iron Man. She's
Right.
in that. Yeah, she's part of that. She's part of that MCU legend, like the legacy of the MCU. You know.
And if any of these characters, any of them they kill off, come on, they're all 4 of them. I mean, let's throw Gwyneth Paltrow in the mix with Chris Evans, the Chris's.
She's up there with like Nick Fury. And
yeah.
Like with those faces you've seen from the very beginning. Like, wow.
Yeah, if they kill them off, they can always write them right back in.
And you know they will, or they'll just bring them back to life, because no one really dies in the MCU.
Yeah, Tony Stark, Pepper Potts get married, have a kid. Tony retires. He's not in it for 5 movies. Bring him back. He's 60 years old. Well, actually, he's almost 60 now. Yeah. He's 80 years old. Boom, you got him back.
He's old as shit.
Yeah. They're all pretty.
Still shooting missiles.
That's right. In more ways than one.
Hey-o. So lastly, early Captain Marvel reviews are out.
They're great.
And they are very positive.
Yeah.
That being said, take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. I don't know what kind of studio would just let someone be like that actually says a lot about a studio. So like with movies that are released, when critics see them, they have what are called embargoes, which are basically like
they can't talk about them.
You can't say anything. So that being said, they let critics come in and see the movie, and they said, you guys don't have a social media embargo. They lifted the social media embargo, which means right after the early screenings for the movie, you can go ahead and post whatever you think about the film to social media.
Yeah,
which is really cool. And the official press embargo is lifted, I think.
I don't know.
Like very soon. I don't know the exact day. I think it's like a couple days before the movie comes out. But
we're very good at doing our research.
that's a good sign from the studio. The shorter the amount of time between the embargo and when the film was released is it shows how confident a studio is about their movie.
Yeah,
if they're like, yeah, you can go ahead and say whatever you think 2 weeks before the movie comes out. Versus, I remember Justice League, the embargo was lifted the day before the movie came out.
Was it really?
Yeah, they were like that. We don't want because they knew it was trash. Like it all.
Yeah,
that's the studio's confidence. If they're like,
that,
if the studio's like, yeah, we're not releasing the embargo until like the week of or days before the release.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah,
because they don't want bad press.
I know a lot of back again. I know a lot of video game companies do that too because. They sink
trash. They don't have faith in it.
Yeah, they sink millions of dollars into their games, and they got to get people to buy a $60+ game.
And if you don't have faith in your material, why should I?
Yeah.
But yeah, that excites me. I haven't. None of the trailers have made me like, yeah, I'm gonna go see Captain Marvel.
I've tried to not watch them. I watched the first one, but that's it.
None of them have like. I don't know how many I've seen. I don't even know how many there are. But the ones I've seen haven't gotten me like amped. I'm excited to see it because it's Marvel and they haven't steered me wrong. They haven't disappointed me yet.
Are you sure? Hulk. Iron Man 3. In your case.
There are elements to those movies that are good.
Fair enough.
We'll talk about them right now.
So let's get into it.
All right, MCU Part 1.
Iron Man, great. All right, the Hulk.
Iron Man 2008.
The one that started it all.
Crazy. They've started this movie. Like, they filmed this movie without a script.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Like, Kevin Feige, when he founded the MCU, they scrounged together all the rights that they could possibly get. So, like, not many people know this, but the X-Men was owned by Fox.
Yep.
It's a different studio. The Fantastic Four was owned by Fox. Spider-Man was owned by Sony. And that's why all these movies, they were never connected. They never hinted at each other. They were their own things. It was all separate. And then Kevin Feige had this idea. He had been producing these movies since X-Men, like when it all started. X-Men in 2000. Directed by Bryan Singer, the first X-Men movie. That was the first like serious Marvel film where people were like, "Wow, these could be good. These are films." And then Sam Raimi with Spider-Man,
great trilogy. Even the third one,
Spider-Man 2 is arguably Spider-Man 2 and X-Men 2, like X2, X-Men United are arguably like still some of the best comic book movies ever made. I loved X2. X2 I watched so much.
Who plays Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2?
I don't know his name.
I can't remember. He got an Oscar nod for that.
He's in the. You ever seen Species?
Yeah.
He's
in that, yeah. I can't remember.
He's the dumbass that has sex with the alien. You idiot. She killed him.
Also, the music in that movie is beautiful as well.
Wait, which one? Aliens?
Not Species.
Or Species. I'm all over the place. I was like, Aliens?
Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
Yeah,
what is his name? Danny Elfman.
Yeah, Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
I think he got nominated for a couple Grammys for that.
I think so. I think he's got a few Oscars.
Yeah.
Too,
he does. Yes, he does.
Composer. But, like Iron Man changed the game.
Changed the game.
Like,
flipped the script.
Kevin Feige, he had been producing all these movies from different studios, and he had this brilliant idea of, let's get the rights back to all the characters we could possibly get.
Which, I don't know why, personally, I don't know why it took him so long to think of that. There's probably a lot of legality.
Probably, yeah, like buying the rights for this stuff and getting them back. Like,
millions.
I still don't think Fox owns Hulk, because Hulk is owned by Universal, so I think I think Universal gets a certain percentage of whatever.
Yes,
whatever
I
it is
believe
for
you're
the Hulk.
correct, which is why there has, with the stipulation of the Hulk can be in these movies, however, he cannot have his own standalone film, or else it must be produced and run by Universal.
Which is why it took so long for Spider-Man to get into the MCU with Civil War, because it was owned by Sony.
Yes.
And then Sony finally realized, like, we can't. We've tried twice to make a Spider-Man franchise. Spider-Man with Sam Raimi, and then the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which were... The first one was okay. The second one was poop, trash, garbage. Throw it away. That movie's bad. That movie is a 2-hour trailer for the fucking Sinister Six that they didn't even make. Like, they were setting that up so much. Right. Like, ooh, the Sinister Six, get ready. And he had to watch 2.5 hours of just garbage. Of just like, that movie's trash. Anyway. Anyway.
Yeah. So Iron Man.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, and then
film.
they. Iron Man was not a popular character. Not too many people knew about him. He was considered like a Class B character as far as like comics go. Like no one. I mean, diehard comic book fans knew about him, but the general public had no idea who Iron Man was. And then they casted Robert Downey Jr., which is insane.
Yeah.
Because
he had just come off.
Yeah, like
of
his
being
history,
out of
man,
jail.
of drug addiction, and just he was basically like just a bad boy. He was legitimately Tony Stark, in and out of jail, DUIs,
but not the nice philanthropist Tony Stark.
Yeah, he was just a wild card, man. I remember he was so high one night that he accidentally went into his neighbor's house and laid in their child's crib because he thought he was home. He was so fucked up.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I didn't
he got
hear about
arrested.
that.
Yeah, he got arrested for speeding down Hollywood Boulevard. He was messed up on. He had like coke and heroin and all kinds of stuff. He had an unloaded gun. He was on parole.
Yeah. You
So,
can
yeah,
see
like
him
he
in
was-
court too, and
Yeah, I
all those
remember
videos.
in a quote from him. When he was in court. He was like, "It's like I have." He said, "It's like I have a shotgun in my mouth, and I love the taste of metal. I love the taste of the gunmetal." Like he said that to the judge. Like it was bad.
Jesus.
And then he got his shit together.
Yeah,
and then
props, kudos
He
to
got
him.
casted in Iron Man. Even though he was the title character, he was the lowest paid actor because a studio, when they cast someone, they have to take on insurance on
Yes.
the actor. And they were like, "This dude's a really
He's a
big
high-
liability."
Yeah, he's a risk.
And he did it. I think they said he only got paid like
like-
only got paid. Like it was like $500,000 or something like that. It was
Really?
something.
I
Yeah,
thought it was less than that.
It may have been.
Yeah.
But to us, that's a lot of
That's a
money.
lot
But
of cheddar.
to that world, that's chump change. Like he was barely paid. So, and what blows my mind, man, is that they filmed this movie without a script. Like they wrote the script, they sent it to the studio, and they're like, "Yeah, this is gonna work." Because at the time, Marvel, the movies were being distributed by Paramount. Yeah, and Paramount was like, "No way."
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 2 weeks before filming, and it didn't have a script. Now, what the hell are we gonna do? And Jeff Bridges, the guy that plays Obadiah Stane, the Iron Man,
Fantastic actor.
John Favreau, the director, he also
Fantastic
plays
director.
he also
Happy.
plays Happy Hogan, his Iron Man security guard.
Yep.
And Robert Downey Jr. They would sit in their trailers, come up with the scenes, walk onto the soundstage or wherever it was that they walked on the set and just filmed it.
Yep.
And
They knew what
that
they were
movie,
working with.
just that movie, man, like I was saying earlier, the first shot that we see of Tony Stark, he's riding in this Humvee with a drink in his hand. Like that sets the stage for who he is. He's joking around.
Yeah.
He gets blown up. You find out that he's this arms dealer, and
He
he's
manufactures.
yeah.
weapons.
He the character of Tony Stark was based off of Howard Hughes. Yeah, and that really shows this playboy. He's like in the comic books, no one really liked Tony Stark because he was a dick, but he
And
was
you
a
see
likable
that.
dick.
You see that in the films.
Yeah, like
and you
he's-
see his character.
Yeah,
progress.
and it was just such a different kind of superhero. And I remember, man, being a kid, just seeing him, just the stuff that he did, man. Like this building, like first of all, the arc reactor made no sense, but somehow you buy into it. Like he's got this shrapnel in his body, and it's traveling. It's gonna eventually travel through his heart, and he had to make this
magnet.
this
essentially.
electromagnet in his chest that lit up, and it's also basically like a battery.
Right.
And he's like, how am I going to get out of here? I'm going to build this suit, and this battery is going to get me out of here. And
It's gonna
just-
save my life.
yeah, and then just seeing him progress, like that's just the coolest concept to me of that character.
Yeah.
It's just his evolution throughout the series is his different suits and the tech that he's
Right.
continuing to come up with. It just Iron Man is hands down my favorite MCU character.
Right. Oh,
He's
really?
so badass. Yeah, man, I remember just because that movie and The Dark Knight came out in the same year, and
Yes, The
I
Dark
was
Knight,
becoming
yes.
very aware of how I've always been in love with superheroes, and then I was like, that's when I was like really starting to get into film, and like I really love film, and just movies in general, and those two things just kind of exploded in that year of 2008, and I was
Yeah.
like, Jesus, I was like, these are films, because I had seen like Gladiator and like The Matrix and just kind of like different these big blockbuster films, if you will, and I knew narratively how those were structured when
Yeah.
you cared about characters and the performances, and when you really like I was really studying movies. I was like, man, these are kind of crazy, like, and I was appreciating them more. And then Iron Man came out, and I was like, man. And I remember I saw it with my cousin. I didn't even want to see it, and he's like,
You told me this.
yeah,
story,
he's like, so I had played the Ultimate Spider-Man games on the PS2, and that was the first time I had seen a black Nick Fury. And I was like, man, this guy looks like Samuel L. Jackson. And Ironically, like the
Little
comic
did he
writers,
know.
when they recreated the Black Nick Fury, they based him off of Samuel Jackson. And I remember he was saying, like, he was reading a comic because he's in the comic books, and he was reading that issue with the first Black Nick Fury, and he said that he remembered as a kid reading Nick Fury. He was a white guy running through the jungle with other white guys, and he was just
It just doesn't sound right.
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
What's his name? David Hasselhoff actually played Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing against the Hoff.
But yeah, that was a movie back in the day. He played Nick Fury. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway. So Sam Jackson, when he was reading the comic, he was like, "Wow, that looks like me. I guess all I got to do is wait for them to call me and tell me they're making this movie." Years go by. They made Iron Man in 2008. Credits start to roll. Like, first of all, blew my mind. First comic book movie where the hero just goes, "I am Iron Man."
Yeah.
Like, fuck it.
He said
Threw
it
away his
felt
secret
so
identity.
Good saying
Yeah,
that
it was
line.
crazy. It was crazy. I was like, I remember, and the movie ended like that, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. He just doesn't even care.
And they end it with Iron Man by Black Sabbath.
Yeah, and then, like, the credits start to roll. I get up, my cousin's like, "Where you going?" I'm like, "The movie's over." Sit down. He walks in. Jarvis isn't working. Do you know, actually, Jarvis is an acronym. It stands for just another rather average computer or something like that. Or system or something like that. Something crazy. Anyway, in the comic books, Jarvis was an actual butler. Like,
he was a person.
Like Bruce Wayne, like Alfred.
Right.
And they steered away from that because they were like, we don't want audiences to get Batman vibes from Iron Man.
Yeah,
So they
makes
made him a
sense.
computer and blah,
Even
blah, blah,
though
blah, blah,
he
blah.
is Batman.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I heard Sam Jackson's voice, and I heard him say, I am Iron Man. I was like, oh, shit. And then he turns around, and I was like, it's fucking Nick Fury. Like, I knew who he was. I was like, oh, shit. This is crazy. He said, he's like, you think you're the only superhero in the world? I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. And when he said that, my jaw drops. And I looked at my cousin, and I'm like, yo, they about to make an Avengers movie? No way. Like, no way. Like, because I grew up watching Justice League and playing the Avengers games. I knew about superhero team ensembles. And I was like, oh, man, if they could pull this off. Like, imagine, like, X-Men, but each member is their own hero. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was something that hadn't been done. And then Hulk came out. Watch that. Edward Norton. I think that movie's decent. The Incredible Hulk is definitely better than Hulk with Eric Bana.
I've never seen.
Do not watch that movie. If
Eric Bana
Hulk, you guys have seen this movie, you know it's horrible. It's so bad. This dude, the Hulk, like they don't know. They didn't know what to do with him. Like, at one point, this man is fighting 3 mutated dogs. And it's like a giant. It's like a giant poodle that's like the size of like a bear, and he's fighting like it's so bad. Like, oh my god. And then the Incredible Hulk came, and I was like, wow, okay, this movie's not bad. You know, dealing with Abomination
film
and
by really Universal, like we said.
Yeah. But and then Iron Man has his cameo at the end, and he walks in and he talks to General Ross. He says, what if I told you we were putting a team together? And he said, who's we? And I'm like, oh my god. And like, it kept building. And then Thor came out, and I'm watching, Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is after the Incredible Hulk. And I was so ready for this movie, man. I remember seeing in the trailer, like, the briefcase suit. And I was like, bruh. And like I was saying, like, the evolution of this character.
Yeah.
Like, Tony Stark, man. Like you were saying, that he's pretty much Batman in that way. He's always ready.
He's always ready for something.
What makes Iron Man is his tech, his brain.
Yeah.
He's a tinker, and he made this briefcase, and he put that. I remember that suit up sequence, man. Oh, the suit up sequence. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The first Iron Man, that suit up sequence.
Chance really likes these movies.
I do.
You can't tell.
Like, oh man, like it's so good. Like, just seeing the progression of these characters. Say what you will about Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2.
I liked it. I love Mickey Rourke.
It got too silly, and it was a byproduct of the studio getting too involved and not allowing a filmmaker to really make the film that they wanted to make.
So Iron Man 2, the only thing that I think was really silly about it was the last 15 minutes of it with where Mickey Rourke's character Whiplash does come back in seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And has a big Iron Man suit with
the
the
That's essentially the problem
whips.
with Iron Man. Other than like Iron
Yeah.
Man 3, like all of his villains are basically other Iron
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
That's why like in the comics there's a actually Stan Lee said Doctor Doom from Fantastic Four. He's pretty much Tony Stark. Like he builds this suit, even though he like in the comics, he went to the mountains and learned magic from these monks and shit. Victor Von
Dr. Doom?
Yeah, Victor Von Doom is magic, and he has this suit of armor, and him and Iron Man clash all the time. And he's
in the same universe. That's right.
He actually said that he should have made Doctor Doom an Iron Man villain, which is interesting because they fight all the. I mean, they're pretty much.
Do they fight
same.
often?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Iron Man 2.
So wait, hang on. Let's go back. Iron Man 1, great film.
Yes.
Incredible Hulk. What did you think of it? We didn't really do too much of a review.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't consider it a Marvel movie. I really don't.
It is because that's supposed to be Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and Edward Norton's Hulk. It's supposed to be the same.
Yes.
Because he references New York in the Avengers.
And Edgar Ross is the only returning character from that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily consider it one.
It's okay.
Yeah. I've never seen it, so I didn't watch it in preparation for this because it's a Universal film. So
it's okay.
Okay. Iron Man 2,
like
solid.
Is it solid? That
I would say, in my opinion,
what
solid.
they wanted to do was the Demon in the Bottle series, which is is comic stuff. It's basically like Tony's a really hardcore alcoholic, and Disney bought the rights by that point by Iron Man 2. Wait. Did Disney? Maybe. All I know is they couldn't really do the alcoholism as heavy as they wanted to, but you do get hints of that. Like at the party when he's drunk, and there are different moments. Like after he deals with the Supreme Court with them trying to take his suit, Pepper, when he's talking to her, she's like, "Have you been drinking?" And there's just subtle hints of his alcoholism throughout there.
Yeah, for sure there is,
and,
which I like.
I understand why they didn't hit that heavy because they didn't want kids to look up to superheroes, and they didn't want kids exposed to like a drunken.
Yeah, which is why Nick Fury does not smoke his iconic cigar, because, well, for that reason, and also there's actually a law that's in place that says tobacco products and
kids' films.
Yeah, heavy alcoholism cannot be featured in any motion picture unless it is a sign of the times. So, for instance, Mad Men, they can show that because everyone in the 60s fucking smoked and drank like it was their job on the job.
Yeah, I was about to say his character was a marketing guy for
exactly.
cigarettes.
But there is a law that says you can't portray that as a glorified thing. So, little fun fact.
But yeah, like there are definitely good elements of Iron Man. Like him Iron Man 2, him creating that element kind of makes no sense at all. Like the new reactor. What is that? Like what he created an element. Like what? Like that's the comic book part. Like they did a good enough job trying to convince you like that was his father's life work and he was limited by the technology of his time and blah blah blah.
I thought the most charming part of that movie is when, or is this number 3 now? Oh my god, am I getting them mixed up? No, it's number 2, where where Tony is sitting down and he is playing old clips
of his father.
That whole part is beautiful. He sits down and he's letting...
I don't remember that actor's name that plays his father. He's in Mad Men as well.
Yes, he is. And it is also a different... Until, I believe, Winter Soldier, then he is the same actor who plays Tony Stark's father.
In the first Cap, someone else plays a younger version.
Yes.
So his name is Dominic something. He's in that show Preacher.
Yeah.
On AMC.
Yeah, the best part of that movie, or the most charming part, whatever, is when Tony's sitting down and he thinks the film is done, and
I love those clips because you see where Tony got it from. Because his dad is you see that shot of him drinking, and you hear the camera guy says, "You waiting on me?" And he takes a sip and he holds his finger up like, "Give me a second." And then like he's like, "I'm here to show you my ass." Yeah. Like you get where Tony. Yeah. You get it.
And I always think that where Tony Stark is Howard Hughes, Tony's father is Walt Disney, because he's building this theme park.
Yeah, he's building this empire, this legacy, this Stark name.
If you watch these old clips of Walt Disney and his brother, like founding Disney, it's very much like
almost
that.
Like the Stark Expo.
And they did that exact theme. They would make 3D models of their park, and they would show them, and then they would have a convention, and they'd pitch it to investors and all of that. So yeah, he's always resonated with me that that's Walt Disney. He's not just building, that theme park, but he's also building an empire, which Walt did.
I never really made that connection. That's really
Yeah.
And then they recasted Rhodey. He's no longer Terrence Howard. He's Don Cheadle now. Do you know how that all went down?
I do. Yeah.
So, like, for those of you guys who don't know, so Rhodey, War Machine, is played by Terrence Howard in the first Iron Man.
One.
And he's
Great
replaced
actor.
by Don Cheadle.
Better actor.
So
Hotel Rwanda. Woohoo.
essentially, what happened after the success of the first, like, Terrence Howard was one of the highest paid actors. Him and Jeff Bridges, for sure, were the highest paid actors in the first Iron
Jeff
Man.
Bridges was, yes.
And after the success of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. went on to do Tropic Thunder. He did Sherlock Holmes. He did The Soloist with Jamie Foxx. Like, he had done a lot of stuff. He got a Oscar nom from Tropic Thunder, so he was back in a big way. And now Iron Man was like a thing. So they were like, yeah, makes sense. Robert Downey Jr. got his salary increased,
an extra $1 or $2,
and Terrence Howard's went down. And if you ask Terrence Howard, which people have in interviews, he would say that Robert Downey Jr. stole his money.
And he actually confronted, well, not necessarily confronted, but he did say something to Robert Downey Jr. and say, like, hey man, what do you think about all of this? And as far as I know, Robert Downey Jr. is just like,
I am Iron Man.
I
am Iron Man. Like,
yeah.
what do you want me to say? The movie, he's the title character. Like,
yeah.
what do you want me to say? Like,
yeah.
Like,
however,
like
kind of a dick move.
I mean, it's not just Robert's decision though. It's not just Robert Downey
Definitely
Jr.'s decision.
not
It was
his
the studio.
decision,
Like,
yes.
there were other people who finalize how much you get paid, and in my opinion, he had made a comeback. He was back.
Yeah.
He was sober. He was making hit after hit after hit. He was selling tickets. It's titled Iron Man 2. It's his movie. He is the title character. It makes sense that he would get a pay increase.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
He was the highest paid actor. All that, I mean, that being said, I'm not a lawyer. I don't do all the negotiating for contracts and salaries and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm not in that world. But, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I understand why Terrence Howard is a little salty about it. But, I mean, that being said, I don't see him fitting into the MCU that we have right now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Not. I definitely prefer Don Cheadle as like Rhodey, like as War Machine.
Don Cheadle is a great actor
like,
too.
What War Machine has gone through and how he's grown in these movies, I definitely prefer Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
And
the way they acknowledge it too.
They don't even say anything.
Let's get on.
He said,
with
"I'm here." Yeah. What did he say? He's like, "I wasn't expecting to see you here. It's me. I'm here. Deal with it.
Let's move on." Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love that. He's like, "Okay." And
all right.
I love that.
And then it just goes.
Yeah. And then Agent Coulson shows up again.
Yeah.
He was
he's
in the first
a huge
Iron
part
Man,
of the Iron Man films.
And I love the references to Thor, because Thor and Iron Man 2 are supposed to take place during the same year
time,
within the MCU. And he says that Fury is sending him to Mexico, and when we see Fury after Tony
New Mexico
blows up his birthday party, he says, "I have bigger problems than you in the Southwest region to deal with." And it's a reference to Thor. And Coulson says he's going to New Mexico in the land of enchantment.
Right.
Thor, magic, blah, blah, blah. Thor. Segue. Thor. The
Iron
first
Man
Thor.
2, great film.
Yeah. Iron Man 2. Ups and downs. Villains poop to me. I do not like Whiplash.
Did Jon Favreau direct the second one?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
And that was the last one he did.
They owe I'm just going to say this right now. Marvel, you own all of your success to Jon Favreau. If the first movie tanked, and Kevin Feige, of course, yes, but in a directing standpoint, if this movie had fucking flopped, we probably would not have
They literally,
anything.
Iron Man was a gamble. Kevin Feige
Huge.
They had one shot to get it right.
He would have
if
lost
Iron
his
Man
job.
would have failed, the MCU would have went bankrupt, and it would have been done. That would have been it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did it without a script, amazing. But Thor.
I just watched it.
Directed by the legendary Kenneth Branagh.
Oh. Most of the time,
he's famous for a lot of Shakespearean work.
Oh. Did he do Shakespeare in Love?
He may have. Did he? He's a very. I think he's a knight. He's a very
Sir?
revered
My God.
British actor.
Well, I'm about to look it up.
He's
right
in
now.
Harry Potter. He's in the Chamber of Secrets. He's the phony Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
He directed that?
Kenneth Branagh. Did you see the live action Cinderella movie that came out not too long ago?
No, I
It's
sure
actually
did
not bad, and he directed that. I actually like that film.
Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, you're right.
The
Yeah?
first Thor, man. We
No,
get
wait a
introduced-
second. That's not the. Is that him? That's him. Get out
Kenneth
of here. Doesn't
Branagh.
even look like him.
Check his filmography.
Anyways, sorry, keep
IMDb.
going. I'm getting us off
The
topic.
first Thor, man, like, I actually really like the first Thor. And we get introduced to Chris Hemsworth. We get introduced to magic. We watched this movie the other night. You watched it
Yep.
with Ashley and I for the first time the other night. And
I had seen it. Yeah, you're right. I had seen it previously. Didn't remember anything about it.
as far as the human characters go, the only one I like is Dr. Eric Selvig, played by the great, was it Alan Skarsgård?
Skarsgård, yeah.
Skarsgård, yeah, there we go. He's brilliant. And his children are brilliant actors, too. He just breeds actors.
Yeah, he really does.
His son plays It in the new It.
Yep.
And his other son plays, I don't know their names. No, I think Bill is
So
It.
Bill Skarsgård is, I'm about to tell you right now. Yes, one of them is
He plays Pennywise the clown.
Pennywise. Yeah, Bill Skarsgård plays
Yep.
Pennywise.
Mhm.
And his brother Eric Skarsgård, I believe is his brother, is in like True Blood
Yep.
and
And he, yep.
Tarzan.
Yeah, he plays Tarzan. He played Tarzan in the live action with
Eric.
Sam Jackson and
That doesn't sound right.
Sam Jackson and Margot Robbie and
Yeah,
Christoph Waltz.
fantastic actor.
Mhm.
He's kind of gotten. I think he's just gotten.
Yeah, but Alan Skarsgård is the only human character I like. The only reason those characters actually exist is for the audience, for us to kind of lead us through this magical world that is Thor, which is why they say, like, Thor's like, in my world, in Asgard, there's magic, and your people call it science. And in Asgard, it's one and the same. So, yeah, that's why they're there. They're exposition devices to so that the audience isn't like, what the fuck is going on in this? So, and that's one thing that the MCU did very, very well. Like, they did a very good job of taking... That's why I say Kevin Feige is a genius, because he knows how to translate comic to film. And Thor did a beautiful job of leading your average going movie.
It's Alexander Skarsgård. I'm so sorry.
The
Continue.
Tarzan guy.
Yes.
No, you're good. You're good.
His character is Eric.
They do a really good job of holding your average going movie audience, holding their hands through this MCU that they built. Like, this is the first time we were introduced to magic,
Right.
and it was the same world. Like,
They took a
Iron
risk.
Man, Hulk, Captain America, like, all these characters had to fit together in this, like, story.
Cohesive, yeah.
Like, and they did a very good job of holding our hands through magic and kind of explaining that to the average audience and making it make sense and having it fit in with Agent Coulson and Tony Stark and Nick Fury and this world. And I think they did a really good job of that. And Thor's story and Loki, man. Tom Hiddleston steals the show in that movie. I remember leaving that movie and I was like, I ended up liking... I didn't have a problem with Thor or Chris Hemsworth, his performance, but I ended up walking out liking Loki more than I liked Chris Hemsworth. Because I was like, Tom
Loki
Hiddleston
is very
steals
charming.
the show. Yeah. And then, like, what's silly is that Tom Hiddleston, Loki, he auditioned to be Thor.
Right, we were talking about the other day. And you could
Yeah.
find those audition tapes.
Yeah, there's
and
test footage if you guys...
I highly
care
recommend
to
you
hear.
checking it out.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like,
it is.
Chris Hemsworth, or not Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, he was in shape. Just,
Yes.
like, have you seen Kong Skull Island? He's in shape in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like he had been hitting the
He
gym,
looks
but
great.
he also looked
But-
like he needed to be consuming, like,
We
his
were-
body weight and protein,
Yeah, we
like
were
in
just
grams
saying
of protein.
that.
Like, he just needed to be bigger.
Right.
And yeah, he's wearing like a blonde wig and he's got Mjolnir and he's summoning lightning. He's acting his ass off. He didn't do a bad job. It's just
He did
I
a great
understand-
job.
Yeah, which is why he's Loki.
Right.
But
That's right. That's
yeah, I walked away being very. I remember, like, we watched it the other night, and it had been a while since I'd seen these Phase 1 movies, and I really liked the first Thor. Like,
Is that your favorite one from Phase 1? Or?
no, Phase 1 is Iron. Is the Avengers? Yeah, Avengers is Phase 1.
It's Phase 1. Yeah.
Avengers is definitely my
it's
favorite
probably
Phase 1 movie.
Best one, yeah.
But the first Thor I thought was really good. I
Yeah?
really like it.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see Captain America 1?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? Did you like it?
Yeah.
I think that movie is so underrated, man.
Um,
Because I always thought Captain America was like one of the corniest characters. Granted, I didn't know much about him. It's all just based off of appearance, and
Right.
I knew he was a Boy Scout and all that shit. But I was never excited for a Cap movie. I knew I needed to watch it to get to the Avengers.
So yeah, a couple things that I like and I don't like about this film. The first Avenger, Captain America. Cast is great. So
Yeah, I thought Hugo Weaving.
Whew,
yeah, he steals
man.
the show.
Yeah, he's great.
Cool. I was nervous about Chris Evans because he was a perfect Johnny Storm to me, and Johnny Storm
Oh my god.
from the Fantastic Four. Yeah, Johnny.
I
Johnny
totally
Storm
forgot.
and Steve Rogers, completely different people.
Yeah.
And I was like, this man has to be like. He's so good at Johnny Storm. I just don't think he can do Cap because they're so different.
Right, and everyone always says like, well, people who aren't like educated in the Marvel world were like, why is he both characters? Because Fantastic Four is a Marvel comic book character.
It's weird. Yeah, but Fox.
They still own the rights to him. I had seen him in. So I think the main reason that Chris Evans got cast as Captain America is probably because his success coming off of the movie shit. I just watched it the other day.
Is it Cellular?
No, it wasn't that. It was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. His little cameo. In that.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah,
Edgar Wright.
He was very like actiony in that one, and granted, totally different character than Steve Rogers. But
Robert Downey Jr. actually had to talk him into taking the role because he did not want
Really?
to sign a contract for like 7 films. He didn't want to have to commit to something like that, which I understand.
do remember that. Yeah,
and Downey talked him into it
because Robert Downey Jr. really does love Iron Man, but he also owes like his
entire
fame,
career.
too.
Because his career was pretty much it was all but over.
Yeah. So cast is fantastic. Joe Johnston is the director of this.
Has he done something else?
I had only ever seen one of his films, Jurassic Park 3.
I actually don't mind Jurassic Park 3. There's parts of it that are bad, for sure.
Other than that, hasn't done too much. He's done October Sky, The Rocketeer.
October Sky, isn't that Jake Gyllenhaal and somebody?
I'll tell you in just a second. It sure is.
Okay,
Jake Gyllenhaal, Chris Cooper, Laura Dern.
Laura Dern, yeah. Hey, Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yep. Yeah, and then he had done like The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones.
I've never seen those.
We used to have them all on VHS. Not gonna lie.
I've heard they're not very good.
Not that great.
Not that great.
But yeah, hadn't seen much of him. Now I do watch one guy who reviews like movies and stuff like that, and he happened to review all of the Marvel films. Their show is called The Cosmonaut Variety Hour. Check them out if you haven't seen them. So he does say, and I do happen to agree with him, he does say that there is a time where this movie does just introduce a bunch of mindless action where it's not necessarily necessary. Where there's a montage of like Captain America blowing shit up.
Commandos.
Yeah, and the Howling Commandos, like, why put them in the movie? They can't be in
that's
any of the others.
Comic book realm stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So that's when you get into that lore and the history of all that, like the Howling, like the British guy. He's actually Captain Britain. Like he's his own superhero.
Captain Britain.
Yeah, he's his own. The British guy of that group is
I think Captain Britain's fucking sweet.
In the comics, which is cool, the black guy is kind of based off of Nick Fury's father.
Oh.
And that's how Nick is kind of... And there's other iterations where Nick Fury was actually in World War II. Like, there's a version of Nick Fury that doesn't age for some reason. Yeah, and he's been alive for a really long time. So, like, yeah, that's all that.
Another little Easter egg. The guy who's... There's an Asian actor in it. I can't remember his name. But
he's in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, he is.
He's also
he's the principal in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and that's supposed to be his grandfather.
His dad. Like, so, the character he plays in the first Cap. There's a picture of him.
Yes.
On the principal's desk.
Yes.
He's played the same guy.
Well, they
played as like his great.
They loved him so much that they wanted to use him again, but they couldn't really because Captain America takes place in the 40s.
I love that line in the movie when Dum Dum Dugan, like when he's breaking them all out.
Yeah.
Dum Dum Dugan, the guy with the mustache. He's like, what's his name? His name is Neil Dunna. I think that's his name. The actor. Yeah. I like him. He goes, well, he was like, what, are we taking everybody? And he's like, I'm from Fresno, Ace. And he pulls his dog's eggs out. Because that was such a dick thing. He's like, what, are we taking everybody?
He's Japanese American.
Yeah, he's like, I'm from Fresno, Ace. He's so mad. I love that part of the movie. But, yeah, like, and that's when we get introduced to Bucky and then all the stuff that goes down with Bucky.
Yeah. Which leads very well into... Well, like the Winter Soldier and everything. But
yeah, the Winter Soldier changed the game too.
Yeah.
But I think the first Captain America is really underrated. And the one thing I like about Cap's character, especially throughout the MCU, he has never changed. His character himself.
Yeah, it's already perfect.
The same Cap that you see in the beginning of Captain America, the first Avenger, to the Cap we see in Avengers Infinity War. He's the same. He's Steve Rogers through and through. Like Iron Man, Thor, they all had to grow up. They all had to mature. Steve, when he was a scrawny kid, when Tommy Lee Jones throws that dummy grenade out, he jumps onto it. Yeah. That's the same Cap. But what makes his narrative journey so interesting is it's not so much him that changes through the movies, it's the world around him and the environment around him and the choices that he has to make. He still chooses, like the choices he makes are all in line with the same Steve. It's just how the world reacts to him.
And some can argue that, no character progression or change is annoying in a sense, but for Steve Rogers, it does work.
Yeah, it makes him
because he's already perfect.
Dope, yeah.
And let's just say the way the movie ends is great.
Yeah, when he wakes up and
he wakes up.
You've been asleep, Cap. For almost 70 years.
What happened? He's like, "What's wrong?"
He said,
"I had a date."
Yeah,
that's
the heartbreaking, man.
But so they shouldn't have. I think they should have just left Peggy. Is that her name?
Mm-hmm. Peggy Carter.
They should have just let her out of it. They shouldn't.
I don't think so. I like her.
But the way
I saw bits and pieces of her show of season.
Oh, Agent Carter.
Yeah,
never watched it. But the way that the first one ends, and then she's just in the fucking second one, like it resonates from a story standpoint, and like it would hit home a lot harder to know that like Steve Rogers really has no one left. Like now that Peggy's alive and like he can, like, yes, we still don't get to see them have a relationship together. She married and moved on. Like they should have just killed her off. I love it though
because it really solidified. Like it makes you feel for Cap because he loved her. He couldn't be with her, and then he still had to watch her die.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. Yeah,
like
I think the movie would have done just as well without her in it. But yeah, I do.
He literally had to bury her. He was a pallbearer. Like that.
But then who fucking Max on her?
That's so weird. Her great niece or whatever the fuck. Yeah, that's so weird. So weird. I'm so glad she's not in the movies anymore. Agent 13. Yeah, I was like, what is this?
Is even a part like when she's reading like and there's a part when like she's reading a eulogy and like what's his name? Not Hawkeye.
Falcon.
Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, look up there.
Hey, isn't it that woman?
Is that girl? Don't you like her now?
Yeah.
I do like her now.
He's like, wow.
I should date her.
She's, what's her name? Peggy.
Peggy
just
Carter,
said that.
yeah.
He's like, she's related to Peggy?
I may not be able to have the first choice.
Peggy's gone now. Yeah, it's so weird.
It's really fucking weird.
Yeah, the first Cap I think is really underrated. And it introduced us to the first Infinity Stone.
And with that, here we go into Avengers.
Listen, I remember. So the post-credit scene for the first Cap is a trailer for Avengers. When I went with my family.
What's the post-credit scene? I don't remember.
It's like, it's the scene from the first Avengers when he's punching the punching bag. And
right.
And he's like, you're trying to get me back in the world? He's like, I'm trying to save it. And then the screen cut to, like, so look, my family left. I was the only one there, left in the theater, right? It cut to black, and it was like next summer, and it was showing shots from the movie, and I'm freaking the fuck out. But look, this is what makes me so upset. I didn't have anybody to share my energy with, so I was just in there alone, trying to. Like, I was freaking out, but I was trying to keep my cool. And I'm like, shit! Like I was like, it's going down, and they were waiting for me when I left the theater, and I came out, and I'm just like, you guys missed it.
Did they care? Or?
No, not as much. Like my uncle grew up reading those comics as they were coming out, so he appreciated it, but not nearly as much as I did. And I was like, yo, it's going down. And then like, oh man, we went to go see the first Avengers, and I've told this story before, like some of my friends were scattered everywhere, and we assembled, and we went to the theater to see this movie. Like, I saw this movie 4 times in theaters, bro. If someone was like, because everyone knew I loved comics.
Are you serious? You like, huh?
Yeah. Oh. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
But everyone knows that.
Okay.
And
write that down.
They were like, have you seen the Avengers yet? I'm like, yeah. I was like, oh, I was going to go see it. I was going to ask you if you want to go. Okay, what time? And I would just go keep seeing this movie. And I was like the fact that Marvel was able to create this cinematic universe, which had been, like, it never been done before.
Right.
They took all these characters from that movie and made a team franchise movie experience. And it had never been done.
Right.
And it's still, people are still trying to replicate this today, and it's not working.
Yes, not at all.
Say what you will about the superhero genre and just those films. You could say they're just blockbusters or just throwaway films. Regardless of what you say, it is the most successful film franchise, other than like Disney and like Lucasfilm. It's
all right. I was hoping you would. Yeah.
It's.
Yes,
like it's working, right. And it had never been done, and it's insane.
Down.
Yeah, like they're hitting their hits after hit. Like last year alone, like the Avengers made $1 billion. Yeah. That was a big deal.
Yeah, and so did
and like
Black
they stuck
Panther,
the landing.
Right?
Yeah, like last year alone, the MCU made $4 billion with the three
movies. Yeah.
Infinity War, Black Panther, and Ant-Man and the Wasp made $4 billion last year.
That's insane.
Incredible.
That's insane.
Like, for this franchise, the Avengers was the first film to break $1 billion. And they were like, everybody was like, holy shit. Like that movie, when that movie came out, it was all people were talking about in 2012. Like,
it was the first movie to break $1 billion?
For the MCU.
Oh, for the MCU. Okay, gotcha.
And it was insane. And I just remembered, man, like, when Bruce Banner's like, I'm always angry. And he turns into the Hulk when he joins the battle in New York, and he punches the Leviathan, and Tony shoots it and it blows up, and all the
you know all the names for the creatures too. I don't even know those.
The Chitauri, the aliens.
Chitauri,
they're mad as fuck. And then the camera spins around in a circle, and it's all of them for the first time. You hear that theme, like dun 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 dun. I was like, bro, I was on cloud 9 in this theater. I literally clapped. I was a huge Iron Man fan, right? And when Loki,
this is the best.
When Loki I'm ranting. When Loki tosses Tony out of this fucking window. And, like, when he put the bracelets on, I'm like, something's about to happen.
He's about to fuck some shit up.
Threw him out. The little eggshell turtle suit fucking pops out of the wall, and then it comes onto him as he's falling. Like, when he's falling down Stark Tower, I'm literally sitting in the theater. I'm clapping. I'm the only one clapping. I'm like, this motherfucker, Iron Man. Oh, man. Like, he suits up, and he flies up, he shoots him, and the aliens come down, bro, and there's fucking shit up. And I'm just like, couldn't believe it. Like, I knew what the Chitauri were, like an alien race in the Marvel comics. They're aliens that the Avengers have fought before. I'm like, yo, I'm watching Iron Man,
right,
with Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye. I'm watching these motherfuckers fight aliens in New York.
Yeah,
and it's 2012 at this point, and it all started in 2008. And I remember just sitting in that moment. I'm like, this is insane. Like, it is still.
Yeah,
11 years later, it is a great time to be a comic book fan.
For sure, they had accomplished something that no one else had. Pretty much.
Like, and every time I watch that movie, in the beginning, like even to this day, when you hear and then
he's got the biggest fucking smile on his face.
Like, he just lands in the helicopter. You know what I mean? I'm just like every time I start that movie, I'm just like, wow. Like it still makes me happy. It's one of the. It's arguably, in my standards, it's one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. Like, it's
and it
almost
is very
flawless.
true to its comic book nature. It's
Like,
very
the
cheesy
Avengers,
sometimes.
the first Avengers comic, what made them assemble the first time was Loki. Like,
Really?
Loki was the first threat that they fought. Like
I didn't
in
know
the
that.
first Avengers issue, yeah.
Yeah, came full circle.
And it was cool as he manipulated the Hulk just like he does in the movie, and there are similar beats and yeah, like
The Hulk?
yeah, because remember when they were on the helicarrier, and he makes Hulk flip.
Oh
out.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I thought you would talk about Hawkeye.
No, I just
you're
oh
right.
man, that movie, man,
Aw,
it's just so good.
nice to see you so passionate about
Because
something.
it's just it's great, man. And then they had to do Iron Man 3.
Oh my God, one of the
Still
best
broke $1
movies
billion.
ever.
What?
All right, so let's
Look,
get into
there
it.
are fun beats to it. I love the progression of his tech.
Shane Black is a great director.
False.
Great.
Oh, no, okay. He's
I
good.
swear to God.
I don't understand Shane Black because he's good when there's just two people talking. Like the other guys is good. Lethal
That's what
Weapon's
you said.
good. Give him something like Predator. Even though he created Predator, he wrote the original. He didn't direct it though. The new one, poop. Iron Man 3, poop. Like I like the theme of what they were going with Iron Man 3 is the fact that Tony Stark does not need the suit to be Iron Man. That's not what makes him Iron Man.
Right.
It's his brain. It's his. He's a like he said. He's a. What did he say? He said he's a mechanic. I think
Yeah,
it's something he
he's
said
the
in
mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah. Boom. I like that because that's what makes Iron Man Iron Man. I like that theme of the movie, but it's not executed very well.
So, see now, we probably have difference of opinions. One, because you are the comic book fan, and I know absolutely nothing about the comic books. But I think Tony Stark is the most interesting in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you haven't seen a Shane Black film other than Iron Man, I mean, check out The Nice Guys. Great film. I mean, it's awesome. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, another Robert Downey Jr. movie.
I like that movie. Have you seen that movie? Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah.
Him and Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so he knows how to direct Robert Downey Jr. and he knows what he's working with. But yeah, everyone complains about the Mandarin.
Yeah, I hated that.
I loved it because it's like ready for this? Mm-hmm. It's like The Last Jedi. They take what you think is going to be about and they just turn it on you. The Mandarin
really,
isn't
though.
well.
Like,
the Mandarin isn't the Mandarin. Like the Mandarin in the comics, as far as I know, is like this big baddie. Like
the Mandarin was Iron Man's. He was the Joker
main nemesis, right? Yeah.
To Batman, and the Mandarin had these 10 rings of power, which they hinted at from the terrorist group that kidnapped him in the first movie. The 10 rings, that's what they were called. He had these 10 alien rings of power, and they're basically like alien magic rings, and that's how he fought Iron Man. And their logic behind that was they wanted to steer away from stuff like that after the first Avengers and kind of have Iron Man deal with real deal shit. But I don't know why. Like you've already opened up
Right.
the world to aliens.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, kind of like Spider-Man: Homecoming. This alien technology is spilling through the black market, and people are using it to do bad things.
Makes sense.
But like the Mandarin twist, it just doesn't work for me. Like.
And I accept
the
that
Extremis
about
virus was its own thing. Like Iron Man Extremis is a whole comic line. It's its own thing, and it's nothing like what it is in the movie. They're these weird Human Torch type characters.
Yeah.
And then, the Mandarin was not a very politically accurate representation of the Asian culture when the character was created in the comics. You know what I mean? Like, you can argue that.
Yeah.
That's an easy fix for on-screen adaptation. Like, I don't know why it was so hard to just do the Mandarin, because that twist just didn't work for me, and that's just me, because like I said, I'm a comic fan. And and just the twist, and then I tried to correct it. Remember those Marvel one-shots they used to do?
Yeah.
And then Ben Kingsley, he's
yeah.
like the real Mandarin wants to talk to you because you've made him look like a fool.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
That's
you can't
great.
fix this. Like,
I don't think they were. I don't think they were trying to fix it. I think they were just having fun.
and then like Shane Black, again, Iron Man 3, things don't work until they do.
How so?
Like when he's getting attacked and he's in his suit of armor, when he's getting attacked in his house, and for some reason none of the weapons work until they do.
Oh, I see.
Like he's getting shot at, and his weapons don't work until he needs to shoot a piano into the fucking helicopter. Even though we know he has 100 fucking operational suits in the basement of his house. What are you doing? Like, he almost died. Like, I don't understand that. I'm like, bro, why didn't you do that right then? I'd have been like, yo, like, as soon as... When old girl, his ex-girlfriend, when the missiles are flying at his house, I'd have been like, Jarvis, open the fucking basement door and send all those robots after these 4 helicopters when I got 100 suits in the basement. I don't even have to be in for this to... It's just so dumb to me. Like...
He's getting so heated.
I don't get it. And then through the whole movie...
Oh my God,
through the whole movie...
awesome.
Through the whole movie, when, like, after the house blows up, right? And his suit that he has is dead and it doesn't have any fucking power.
No juice, yep.
If he's able to call Pepper from a fucking payphone and give her a message to one of his helmets that is destroyed at the house, she puts it on, she gets the message. You need a suit. You need a suit, right? Yeah, you're Iron Man. You got 100 fucking suits in the basement. All you got to do is grab that payphone, call up Jarvis, because you can still use Jarvis.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't work like that. You don't know.
Listen, what?
You don't know.
You can't tell me. And then, like, it was so stupid that he just straight up told a terrorist to come to his house. Like, it's supposed to be stupid, but it's so stupid to where I'm just like, why would you do that?
Well, you know,
like, there are just moments in the movie that Tony Stark just does things, and you're like, why on earth would you do that?
Well, let's think about it. So Tony Stark is coming off of winning this big battle in New York, thinks he's untouchable,
which has made him so
right?
paranoid that he has 100 suits in his basement.
Right, has made him very paranoid. But at the same time, he's still Tony Stark, and he can't kill this playboy, you know, cocky son of a bitch that he was until this movie. So he's like, this guy's all talk. I just fought aliens from fucking space, and this guy's not going to do shit. So I think, hell, why not? Make him cocky and say, like, this guy's not going to show up. Let's call him on his bluff. I don't think it's going to happen. Calls him to his house. Happens. Doesn't know what to do. But eventually, he's Iron Man, you know. Kicks his ass. Gets his ass kicked.
No matter what you say, I'm going to go back to these 100 suits in the basement. After I threaten a fucking terrorist and there are news helicopters flying around my house recording it, if I was Tony Stark, I'd have been like, yo, I want all of these suits floating in a perimeter around my fucking house. Because, like, he got upset because he's like, because chick walks up and rings the doorbell. He's like, what the fuck? We should be on high security. I'm like, what do you mean, bro?
It takes the fun out of it, though.
But it just doesn't make sense. It's just poor writing. Like, it's there. It's... I don't understand why he waited to the end of the movie to do this. You could argue, like, oh, he wanted to figure everything out.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to struggle as hard as he did through the movie because he had all these resources at his disposal.
Right. But, you know, it's also about...
Like I said,
it's
I
about him
appreciate
growing
the
up.
theme of him not needing the suits to be Iron Man, but the amount of shit... Like, he's fighting these superhumans.
Yeah.
That can, like, literally burn him alive.
Yeah.
And you're Iron Man.
Yeah. He's Iron Man.
And you have 100 suits in your basement.
You just love those suits, man.
Because... And then he just blows them up at the end, which was fucking dumb.
Yeah, that was stupid. I will give you that.
And then he used the extremis virus on himself because Aldrich Killian fucking
stupid
used it on Pepper. Now she's like a supernova person, and she kills him, the real Mandarin, for some reason. Like, here's the thing. Here's my thing about the Mandarin.
Yeah, what's your thing?
If Ben Kingsley wasn't the Mandarin, fine. Guy Pearce did not need to say, I am the Mandarin. You're not. None of you are. Like, they could have just, like, they didn't even need to title him the Mandarin because no one was the Mandarin when you really think about it.
Right.
Like, why make him the Mandarin if you're just going to make up a whole nother character anyway? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Aldrich Killian was his own thing. I am the Mandarin. Why? like you didn't need to do that. Either there is a Mandarin or there's not a Mandarin. And then they gave him these Japanese style dragon tattoos because they're like the Mandarin's origin is Japanese, so we're gonna give him these random ass tattoos on his body of dragons because that's Asian, right?
Dragons.
This movie
Hey.
just blew. I was so ready for this because it was off the heels of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, Iron Man's back. Let's fucking go. And then like his house blows up, right? And the news was there. Nick Fury, none of the other Avengers were like, hey, Tony Stark's house just blew up and fell into the ocean.
Well,
And then Cap, the president was in danger and shit like that.
but there's shit like that in all of these films, and that's what I hate, is that now that you've already established that it's this universe, stuff like that happens and none of them come. I mean, like, take for instance...
Like the Winter Soldier makes sense to me because... Have you seen the Winter Soldier yet?
yeah.
So, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. is the government. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense because S.H.I.E.L.D. was compromised. Cap had to deal with it right then. Like, there was nothing they could do. Like,
You
he
don't
didn't
think
have
you could
enough
take him
time.
5 seconds out of his day, be like,
I mean,
hey,
they were
Iron
going
Man,
to
I
kill
need you.
trillions of people.
Sure.
And he had no... Like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is monitoring everything. He couldn't just pick up a phone and call Tony.
I mean, I guess.
You know, I mean, like,
But
I get that
send
with the
a
whole
carrier
espionage
pigeon,
shit.
man.
I mean, who can you trust, though?
You can't trust a pigeon?
You can trust a falcon.
I hate you.
You're
Okay,
so lame.
boom.
Okay.
Send the falcon. Go get this guy.
All right, you got me there.
Yeah, I gotcha. Ah!
But Iron Man 3 was very disappointing. Just didn't make sense. For plot device purposes, things don't work until they do.
Okay,
work.
you know, I'll give you a plot, but I still think character... I mean, I still think character progression-wise, this... I mean, I think it's the best Tony Stark has been. It's finally him killing off his old self. Because, you know, we see that, you know, you see his past come back to haunt him once more. He finally hates it and realizes that his past has consequences. He's like, I can't be this bitch anymore. I gotta be this guy now. So,
like,
New York has changed him. You see that. He has panic attacks now.
he's paranoid.
He's paranoid as
He's got
shit.
PTSD.
Yeah, major. So I think character progression wise, I think it follows. People will say that like oh, Captain America is the only true trilogy in it because it all follows the same kind of story, like Bucky. But like, you still got Iron Man 1, cocky son of a bitch. Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 1 is an origin
less,
story.
right.
Iron Man 2 is him growing
up. Yeah.
And then Iron Man 3 is him saying, like,
coming to terms.
I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need
to be Tony Stark. I need to be Iron Man.
Like, Tony Stark and Iron Man are the same.
Right.
And I get all that, but it's just the movie itself as a narrative.
Yeah.
Like, for some
yeah.
reason, parts of his suits don't work until they need to work. Like, they don't work until they do. Like, for some, like I said, like, when his house fell into the ocean, he couldn't fly for some reason. Then all of a sudden, as he's drowning, you can fly again. And then he flies, and the suit runs out of power, right? Suit runs out of power. He finally charges it. When he, like, after the whole Mandarin twist, after he finds out that the Mandarin isn't really the Mandarin, for some reason, he can't fly again. For some reason. Until he needs to fly again. Until he needs to save all those people falling out of Air Force One.
Cool scene, by
His
the way.
weapons don't work.
They did that all practically, by the way, too. It's pretty cool.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You ever seen that behind the scenes? Check that shit out.
I didn't
It's
even
sweet.
care enough to watch the behind the scenes. Like, that's just what I'm getting at. It's just sloppy to me. And then you got Thor 2. I'm going to be honest with you. Logan hasn't seen Thor 2, and I told him don't even bother, because Thor The Dark World is just kind of meh. The only reason you need to watch Thor The Dark World is because they introduced the Ether, which is the Reality Stone. Speaking of stones, so the Tesseract first showed up in First Cap. Then we see it again in the Avengers. And then Loki's staff, we later find out, is the Mind Stone.
Right. Which I was always... they all kind of mushed together at that point.
Like the Mind Stone, okay.
How did that
I don't
work?
think they knew it was I don't think they were planning on making
I don't think they were either.
And then they were like, holy shit, we're almost halfway through this, and we got to introduce these 6 stones.
Yeah. Which I think, in my opinion, Guardians is kind of the first one to...
And then we see the Power Stone in that one.
Yeah.
And, breeze over Thor.
God, I
Thor
love
The Dark
Guardians.
World, poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very boring. It was directed by Aaron Tyler, something like that. He directed a couple episodes of Game of Thrones, some big episodes. So they brought him in. It makes sense why they brought him in, but that tone does not fit Thor. Thor shouldn't be all dark and medieval like
Alan
that.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Natalie Portman's. Oh, that's so funny. Her picture on IMDb, like to describe herself, is fucking Padme.
She, it was really hard for her to get work after those movies.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, that almost ruined her career.
Yeah,
But,
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. First Guardians. That took me by complete surprise. I knew who James Gunn was. Have you ever seen the movie called Slither? It's got Michael Rooker in it. James Gunn. Slither. It's got Nathan Fillion and Michael Rooker and Elizabeth Banks. It's like these weird alien slug things and like people and zombies. I saw that movie. It was really nasty. It freaked me out. It's a really good movie, but it's just very graphic and gory and nasty. But I knew the name James Gunn. Yeah, and I went into this movie with an open mind because I was briefly familiar with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I didn't know much about them.
Yeah,
and that
me
movie
neither.
took me by surprise. Like that whole movie, just
it's
the colors,
fantastic.
the humor, the music, like the soundtrack. That movie,
yeah, it's
worked
almost perfect.
So it's because I remember when it was coming out, they're like Marvel pulls out, like Marvel was coming out with a movie with a talking raccoon. A walking, talking tree voiced by Vin Diesel that literally just says, "I am Groot."
Diesel.
Yeah, Ben Diesel. He's a giant potato man. He looks like a baked potato. He looks like a baked potato in a thermal.
Oh, God, that's fine.
Family. Anyway, yeah, the Vin Diesel, like, and then you had
Drax's
Chris
name?
Pratt, Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista. His first major
Zoe
role.
Saldana. I love Zoe.
Oh, she's
Saldana.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, like Star Trek and Guess Who, that movie she did with Bernie Mac.
In
and
the
Ashton
Terminal,
Kutcher.
great
she's
movie.
So good. Yeah, I love that movie too.
Dude, me too. Oh, fuck
yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we just geeked out.
yeah, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Anyway, like Guardians 1. Like,
yeah, it's a fantastic movie, and I mean, even alone, like as just a standalone film, it's perfect. You don't have to watch it, and I mean, it almost has nothing to do with, like,
just the Power Stone.
Yeah, like no, they're not really superheroes. I do know that Drax had a bunch of powers.
He's completely different.
Yeah, he's totally different.
Drax originally was like,
he could fly.
He was possessed. Like Drax, the Destroyer, is like a spirit. If I remember this correctly, I might be completely wrong. But like,
yeah, that's what you get with us. We might be exactly right or
he was like a
wrong.
spirit, and his family was killed by Thanos. And the spirit of Drax the Destroyer possessed somebody, and he had like powers and shit. Like Drax the Destroyer's destiny is to kill Thanos.
Okay. Yes, in
the movie, Ronan killed his family, but Ronan worked for Thanos.
So indirectly,
yeah. But like straight up, Drax's mission in life is to kill Thanos,
and they make that very well known.
And like they did such a good job with Drax's character in the first movie.
Yeah,
they gave him purpose. He later falls into parody. Like now, Drax is the only reason he's there is to make you laugh, and he's a walking idiot.
Yeah,
like he was very compelling. He was a character in the first Guardians. And in Guardians 2 and then Infinity War, he's just an idiot. He's just there to make people laugh.
You know, yeah.
He's just dumb. He's just, like before, it was a fish out of water type thing because it was his culture, it was his people, similar to Thor, where there were no, like, you know what I mean? Like just the way he was interacting with people. It wasn't so much what he was saying, it was how he was interacting with people, like how he was saying it.
Right.
And now he's just dumb. He's just throwaway. Like Guardians 2 would have been the same movie without him.
Yeah, probably.
Arguably, Infinity War would have been the same movie without him.
They mention his family like once more.
There's just that one moment in Guardians. Well,
in Infinity War.
We'll get to Guardians 2.
And that's the next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Guardians.
Guardians.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it took me by surprise, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I mean it's.
We've been talking for a while.
We'll not talk about the controversy with James Gunn.
Yeah.
It's been touched upon enough. And
if you don't know, look it up.
Yeah.
Google it. Read.
Maybe he deserved, if whatever he said was right, maybe this is what he deserves. Some people say yes, some people say no. I could care less.
He's doing
Suicide Squad. Yeah. Margot Robbie's not returning for that.
Apparently she is.
I've heard she is and isn't. I don't know, yeah.
We'll leave it to you to find out which one is true.
Right, and you guys let us know. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's this week's rundown of what we consider our quote-unquote phase one.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason we're doing it this way is
split
because...
it down the middle.
Yeah. The only reason we're doing it this way is because Captain Marvel comes out so soon.
Yeah, so we got 2 weeks, so we figured we'd split it in 2 parts. So this is part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2 will be next week. We'll have a special guest, my buddy Ben Glatt. Yeah, we'll be doing Avengers Age of Ultron all the way up until Avengers Infinity War.
God damn, I got a lot of movies to watch. I got to brush up on Avengers 2, Ant-Man... Good God, y'all.
I left Ant-Man and the Wasp out of here. This list isn't right.
Nothing.
I still haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp. I haven't seen Black Panther in over a year. I saw it twice when it came out in February last year, but I haven't seen it since. So I need to watch it again.
The CGI in that last.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. I think that's why I haven't watched that movie. Because there's parts of it that are just like...
But you know what? The budget that motherfucker was working with and what he pulled off...
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Ryan Coogler, he's definitely one of the kings of
he's great
of film now for sure.
Yeah, he just cemented his career for the next 40 years.
Fruitvale, just Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther.
Creed, yeah, it's true.
Look at that.
That's the second time he's working with Michael B. Jordan. Yeah,
he's worked with Michael B. Jordan. Has been in all 3 of his films. Fruitvale Station, Creed.
I haven't seen that one. Okay.
Fruitvale Station's really good.
Yeah.
Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther.
But
so hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If there's parts of the MCU or specific movies of this first little chunk that we got to that you guys something we left out or whatever you want to say, just drop it in the comments.
And last but not least, we are on Spotify now.
Yes.
So you guys can check us out on Spotify.
Absolutely.
If you're not listening to us on there already.
And of course, you can always check us out here or at clubhousefilms.net.
Yep.
Which is the official website for Clubhouse Films. There's all kinds of juicy content you can see there, podcasts and commercial work and media sources in general, and
And if you guys want, we'll get into like our lives at Clubhouse and like what we do and
Patreon. So you could pay from anywhere from $1 to $100, whatever you guys contribute. It's greatly appreciated. It goes towards the show, so we can get more gear and eventually get a little studio going. Hopefully in the long run.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, for our Patreon, we were thinking about doing commentaries for different things. We're thinking about doing commentaries for the Harry Potter series.
That'll be fun. My girlfriend is a huge Harry Potter nerd, and so is my sister. So, yeah, we'll probably have both of them
the Star Wars.
Yeah.
Logan and I are huge Star Wars fans. And the Dark Knight trilogy and kind of different genres. We're thinking about doing like one episode a month. And for our Patreon subscribers, we definitely would like some of your guys' suggestions, stuff that you'd like us to watch.
For sure.
Whatever we can. Keep in mind, we have to fit all this into our very busy schedule.
Right. We'll make it work for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get that Patreon going up. I think we don't know what I think the Dark Knight trilogy is going to be our first.
That's a good one.
For, February is almost. We got like a week.
We got a week left, man.
So maybe March we'll kick off.
So we've got also another little thing. We've got Clubhouse Films is in the works of directing a little short film right now. So we've got a month. I'm directing that, so we've got a chance of starring in it. So
starring. Use that word loosely.
Starring.
Yeah, sure.
So we've got almost 1 month and just like a couple of days until we start shooting. March 29th.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
We got got some really creative people involved
for sure.
Yeah, man. I think we got all the right pieces in all the right places, and we're gonna.
So tell your friends about us. Yeah. Share it up, man.
Tell your mom.
The word out.
Tell your dad. Tell your cousin. Tell your dog.
That's right. Tell your dog. Yeah.
And make sure they all subscribe.
That's the one.
If you guys like this episode, hopefully you did, hit the like and subscribe button. If you didn't like this episode, hit the like and subscribe button. Greatly appreciated. And guys, drop anything you like in the comment section if you want. If you don't,
listening.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll check it every day.
That's right. Every 10 minutes.
Yep. Thanks for listening, guys. Next week, like I said, part 2 of the MCU. We got Avengers Age of Ultron to Avengers Infinity War. And again, if there's anything you guys would like to drop, as far as the movies, like what your top 5 MCU films are, or even if you don't have a top 5, if you have a top 3, top 2, top 10, whatever it is, drop it. Let us know.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you. Keep it friendly.
Keep it funky fresh.
Yeah. And, yeah, guys, thanks for having us this week. It's a longer episode.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us this week. I mean, hey, they didn't have to listen to us.
Thanks for having us.
Whatever you guys are doing, I don't know what your commutes to or from work are like, or maybe you listen to this at work.
We're so fucking bad at ending the show. My God. That's all right. That's the charm.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks guys for humoring us and indulging us.
And if we haven't said it enough yet, thanks guys. Just thanks.
Oh, and I'll leave you with this. Thanks again.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Next week it's gonna be really exciting. We'll have Ben here. He knows a lot more than we do, so it'll be a lot more informational, more professional.
I wouldn't go that far.
Ben will be professional. We'll be us. We'll be Clubhouse Films.
Yeah.
Wait. We want that to be professional.
You're right. We are professional on set.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very professional.
Right.
The most professional you've ever seen. Don't get it twisted.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Goodbye.